How's my Magic Keyboard for the iPad Pro holding up almost a year later? Today we're going to look at my impressions on this accessory and determine, is it worth your money? Let's go ahead and jump in and find out. Welcome back to the Rambo Fitness and Tech channel. Today's video, we'll take a look at the Magic Keyboard for the M1 iPad Pro. I purchased the black version of the Magic Keyboard when my M1 iPad Pro came out in May 2021. This video will focus on the 12.9-inch version of the iPad and keyboard accessory. I've had a good amount of time with it, especially since my iPad is my most used daily device. So go ahead, drop a like for the channel and subscribe to it.
First, a little information with the Magic Keyboard. It's compatible with the iPad Pro 12.9-inch, the 3rd through 5th generation. Also the iPad Pro 11-inch, 1st through 3rd generation. The iPad Air 4th and 5th generation. And also you need your iPad to run iPad OS 14.5 or later in order to connect correctly to the keyboard accessory. Currently, it's available in a white and black color, and it costs $349 for the 12.9-inch model and $299 for the 11-inch model. Features for this keyboard include backlit keys with quite responsive typing. It has a cursor for the iPad OS, and it's designed for multi-touch gestures. The iPad connects magnetically to the Magic Keyboard when you place it on there. It has a floating design for the iPad that helps get a great viewing angle. The USB-C port is for charging the iPad, but it also frees up a port for other accessories. And also it will fold to provide front and back protection when you're done using the iPad. My experience with the Magic Keyboard has been a really positive one. Is it perfect? No, not really. But what it does, it simply changes the iPad experience from being a tablet to replacing my Mac as my go-to device. Does this keyboard allow the iPad to do more? Yes, it does. But it doesn't replace the high-end apps of a Mac like your Final Cut Pro and other applications. I mostly use my iPad attached to the Magic Keyboard case. Every now and then I will pull the iPad off the keyboard to use it as a tablet or use my Apple Pencil to take notes on my lap or desk. Before we get too in depth with the Magic Keyboard, here's a quick list of a few pros and cons of the keyboard that I've come up with. So the keyboard's good at protecting your iPad. It also has a secure magnetic attachment for the iPad where it just snaps in place. And you're not worried about it ever dropping or anything like that. It has a fantastic typing experience. The keys are backlit in a way that I hardly notice. It just works as soon as you hook your iPad up to it. It has a floating design that's good for viewing angles and for work or watching shows. You can charge while other accessories are hooked up to the iPad because of the USB-C port where you can charge your iPad. It doesn't drain the battery badly just being hooked up to this keyboard. Yes, it will drain a little more, but not too bad. It also works great with universal control, the new feature of the Macs. Now for a few of the negatives of the keyboard case. First off, there's no good way to take notes while in the Magic Keyboard case. Every time I take notes with my Apple Pencil, I take it out of the case and I'll put it on my lap or the table and take notes that way. I wish there was an easier way to open the lid. It would definitely be nice. Now it's really, you kind of have to take two hands, as you'll see a little bit later in the video, to actually open the case. And also the USB-C port. It would be really nice if you could also use that port for accessories, for instance, like a Thunderbolt drive or anything like that to hook up. It's nice the way it is, but it would be nice if you could actually hook up accessories that way as well. We're talking about a keyboard, so how's the typing? Honestly, it's one of the best experiences I've had from any keyboard. I can't really explain it. The combination of how the keys press and click, it makes it a really satisfying experience. Take a listen now to see how it actually sounds. I would love to have a number pad or a row of function keys, but obviously that was removed to give enough space for the multi-touch mouse pad. There also isn't an escape key if you're used to a Mac keyboard, but you can change the globe key, which is located at the bottom left of the keyboard. You can basically change that in the settings to where it can become an escape key. The mouse pad can be tapped or clicked on to click on links or select anything on your iPad. Here's a list of kind of the main gestures I typically use. So to move the cursor on the iPad, it's just like anything else. You use your just one finger. If you take two fingers, you can move documents up or down or navigate web pages by swiping left to right to either go back or forward through your navigation on the internet and things like that. You can use three fingers to swipe to previous used open apps. If you take three fingers and swipe up, that takes you to the home screen. If you take four fingers and swipe up, it takes you to the open app screen. So it basically kind of shows you a display of all your currently open apps. There are more options with the mouse pad, but these are typically the ones I use the most. The mouse pad for this keyboard is great for a portable keyboard. It's definitely, I wouldn't consider it as good as my separate mouse pad for my iMac, but considering all things, pretty much all the functionalities there, so it works great. One last note on the typing and mouse pad experience with this keyboard. It actually works great with the new feature with your iMac and iPad, which is universal control. I can interchange my iMac keyboard along with the Magic Keyboard at any time to control both devices. So you can copy and paste and do all kinds of stuff between your Mac and your iPad, and the functionality is just awesome. So I may have a video in the future to go over this feature more. Opening and closing the lid of the keyboard is fairly easy. To open the lid, I typically grab the left corner of the iPad with my left hand like this, and I'll pull down with my right hand on the bottom side of the keyboard. You will notice how firmly this opening closing mechanic is held in place. It's really secure. It's possible to open with one hand, but it's really meant to be open with two hands, as you see here. Pulling the iPad off the keyboard, I usually grab the bottom right corner of the iPad with my right hand while holding the back of the keyboard with my left, and then I pull the iPad. This may differ from the position you're at. From there, you will feel the iPad come loose, and you'll notice the iPad is held very strongly by the magnet, so you need two hands here. I have no issue with this because my iPad has never fallen off the magnet from this accessory. It gives you a sense of security that your iPad is secure. To put the iPad back on the magnet, simply place the iPad on the back lid of the keyboard and it will snap into place securely. There is a satisfying snap that you will immediately notice that it's secure. One or two hands works fine here. If you're on an unstable surface, you may want to use a second hand just to hold the keyboard in place.
If you've noticed from the footage, the keyboard's in pretty good shape for almost a year later. There might be a smudge here or there, but it usually wipes off in my experience. I've only cleaned the keyboard a few times, but I'm also not rough with it either. A good way I found to clean the Magic Keyboard case is to use a wet wipe that is a little damp, not soaking wet. So in my experience with that, it helped get the smudges off and keep the keyboard case looking great. If I'm on a rougher surface, I will put my Magic Keyboard on the confiable sleeve to help protect it. It's worked great at keeping my Magic Keyboard and iPad in great condition without even trying to. So see the link above for a video on this iPad sleeve. I also have a thin case on the back of my iPad. It's the Mag Easy case from Pitaka. It's a thin case that Works great and has no issues with the Magic Keyboard as far as the connectivity with working together. So it's thin enough where there's no issue. I mainly got this case to just protect the back of the iPad when I pull it off the keyboard and take notes and other things. Good news is it works great with the Magic Keyboard. Overall, with my Magic Keyboard, I think it's held up great after a year of using it. I've had no issues with the keys sticking or anything like that, or the mouse pad messing up at all. So I've had no issues with the actual functionality of the keyboard accessory. You can probably tell I'm pretty happy with the Magic Keyboard. It's definitely not perfect, but it's fundamentally changed how I use my iPad. It has taken my iPad from a device that's used for more entertainment purposes to my main go-to work device. I can actually use my iPad on the go for work and play much more now. So combining almost laptop-like capabilities with the flexibility of the iPad has shown me to be great for my productivity. As you know, the accessory is definitely not cheap, but in my experience, I do not regret this purchase at all. It's really been the best accessory I've ever had for an iPad. So in the future, I hope Apple continues to improve on this awesome accessory and kind of just works on the negatives that we did talk about on it. Thanks again for watching the video and supporting the Rambo Fitness and Tech channel. Go ahead and hit the subscribe and like buttons, and also click on that notification bell. I'll be back with you next week with a fitness video. So until then, have a great week and we'll see you next time.